What's up, North County? Welcome to the Morning Brew, Tuesday morning, and it is nice, it's cold, it's gloomy, and I think it's fall. And I want to welcome our guest host this morning. We got Kelly Reeves, Miss Defense, with us today.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah, welcome. Thanks for coming in. Such a short notice, huh?
I know.
It was like, hey, can you come in? We
Anything
need a guest.
for you, Randy.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Well, you know, I mean, like you said, this is fun.
Yeah, it
gets
is.
It gets the day going, huh?
Right.
That way, you're forced to get up. You know, I mean, it's raining outside, I think. Was it raining where you left?
It's kind of foggy, misty.
Man, it's like for so long I was wondering if rain or if it's going to be hot or is it going to be cold.
Oh, you never know. It's like one day it's 40 and the next day it's 90. So
I know. That seems to be our weather this whole
I know.
year, you know. I mean,
well, the weird part is like it's 85 degrees and then you go and there's all the Christmas stuff and Lowe's.
Well, Christmas stuff has been out for like a month or it was out.
No, like in August I started seeing like Lowe's put some stuff out. I'm like, come on, it's too soon.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. They get aggressive.
I think they do. And Thanksgiving doesn't get anything.
Yeah, it's like,
you know,
poor Thanksgiving.
Right? I mean, you get Halloween, you know, they smash you with all their, you know, ghosts and goblins.
10, 12 feet skeletons.
Yeah, I so want one of those things.
Well, you can probably get them on sale now.
That was my whole idea. I was going to go out to Home Depot and Lowe's where they have all these things because normally they're like, you know, 50, 60, 70, 90% off. You can buy, like I was at, where was I yesterday? I was at Walmart. They had their whole, you know, Halloween, you know, section. Everything right in that section was 95% off.
Yeah, this is the time you like to buy candy because Halloween candy is expensive.
I know.
One bag is like $15, and you know, if you like in my neighborhood, I had tons of kids. I ended up running out of candy, and so I'm like, well, gosh.
So we were talking about that a couple weeks ago, as far as like the hot zones.
Yeah.
So are you in Atascadero or are you in Paso?
I'm in Paso.
So if you're in Paso, so Templeton used to have some hot zones,
right?
And we later found out like some of the hot zones kind of cooled down, and so then there's other hot zones, or usually which is like down by the river in Paso, like the river, I think it's called Riverbanks behind Walmart. That's a hot zone.
Yeah.
And then there's a housing tract up behind, off of Golden Hill Road, up there by Smart and Final.
Yeah.
So there's a big housing tract up there, big houses and stuff like that. So that's another hot zone.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you have an area that you're in the hot zone too.
Yeah, I'm in a hot zone.
So do you turn the light off? Like when you're done with candy?
I'm like Martha Stewart. So in the holidays, it's like I had cobwebs all over the yard and like gravestones and the smoke machine. Like I went.
Did you? Yeah, you went all out.
Yeah, the lights, everything. Yeah. So.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I don't mess around. I have like skeletons all over the yard.
And so what time did you go till? What time did kids finally stop knocking on the door?
I had to put a sign up like, sorry, out of candy.
Oh, man.
So, because like we had it in waves. So we had the little kids early, like around 6. And then the older kids and teenagers started, you know, coming out a little later, like around 8 or 9. So I think the last one was probably around 8:39. And then I put the sign on the door, like, no more candy.
Oh, it hurts, huh? Kids come walking up, they're like, oh.
I know, they're all like, and I can see them through my Ring camera, like, oh, like see their shoulders drop. They're all sad.
We go to my daughter's house up in Paso, and we just sit outside on the lawn, you know, while the kids come.
That's what we did. We sat out on the lawn,
have
and
cocktails,
with pizza and cocktails, and they just came up. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the most bizarre thing in the world. We teach our kids not to like go into strangers' houses and ask for things or talk to them, and here we are, you know, while they're walking up to drunks, you know, giving out candy, you know. But you get the kids come in, and did you see a theme at all this year? Like costumes?
You know, I saw a couple like shadows that were dressed like all in black, head to toe. I saw a couple of those. For the little kids, I saw just kind of like Disney characters and Star Wars, but really nothing, you know, princesses. But
the only real themes that I caught on to was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I didn't know they were, you know, had another movie out. I guess they have another movie out this year.
Oh, well.
So, but I mean, you know, like you said, typically the guys that are just all the guys from the Scary Movie or whatever. You know, they're all black and just kind of that white face, you know, type deal. But there was no real theme, you know, other than just. And a lot of those blow-up kids, you know, they have the little blow-up, you know, that looks like it's a dinosaur.
Yeah.
Or, you know, somebody holding, you know, taking somebody.
Yeah, well, I went to an adult Halloween party at Tooth and Nail, and I went as, like, one of the Day of the Dead people. like all the white makeup and the sugar skull or whatever. But I saw like a bunch of like Vikings, the TV show Vikings.
There's a TV show called Vikings?
Yeah. Oh, you gotta watch it.
Oh.
I think it's on Netflix. But it's it's amazing because
it goes about like the Vikings.
It's about the Vikings. It's a document. It's not a documentary. It's a drama. But it's like Ragnar and all those like old Vikings from back in the the 13th, 14th century, whatever, when they were going to, But anyway, great show. But they were like groups of them dressed in like the Viking gear with their shields and their fake swords. And
oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
How was that? Was that pretty fun?
It was fun, yeah.
That Tooth and Nail, which is the castle. So it's kind of like that.
The Gothic looking,
yeah. That's a pretty cool place.
Yeah, it was cool. But there was like the one, because they did a costume contest, and the the couple that won, she was Lieutenant Dan from Forrest Gump,
right?
But in the wheelchair, and she was legitimately, because she had like a broken foot, so she was legit in a wheelchair. So she just made like she had like because in the movie he got his legs.
So she really did have a broken foot.
Yeah, but she was covered up. But you know how in the movie Lieutenant Dan at that point he has no legs, and there's Forrest like but you ain't got no legs. Lieutenant Dan is like, I know, Forrest. But so she was Lieutenant Dan in the wheelchair, and her husband was Forrest Gump pushing him, and it was. They won the costume contest.
Oh, cool!
Super creative, yeah.
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah.
Are you're probably a member there?
I'm not, but I've just gone to their Halloween parties a couple times. They're fun. They really kind of go all out. This one was last year was way more crowded, I think, because they had the 46 West Halloween thing that was right next door the same night. So I think they were competing with, Halloween parties.
People can go there or something.
Yeah, but then the night before we went to Pig Iron, had the murder mystery dinner.
Oh yeah,
which was and I've done that twice. They had one on Valentine's Day and they had one for Halloween. It was like a Western saloon type, and somebody gets murdered, and then you get to guess, like try to figure out who it was.
So they did that. They did that rather quickly, though. I mean, as far as like it was only like a 2-hour event, right?
No, it was from 5 to 9. This was like 4 hours. Yeah. Huh. So you go, and it's a good deal. So you go, and they have you get drink tickets, and you get fake money, and so there's then the people that have all the parts of the Valentine's Day one. It was a wedding, and the bride got shot and killed, but you have to guess who was the killer. So people will know, and you kind of go around and asking for clues and like giving them fake money, can you give me a clue? And whoever has the most fake money at the end wins something, and then whoever picks
What'd they win?
Just like t-shirts and stuff like that.
Like merch or
pretty much
cocktails at the bar or something like that.
Yeah.
You know what I really like? So the Club Car Bar, which is their bar.
Yeah.
That stays open until midnight, and so like Friday nights, I think we went there after a football game. Templeton had a football game, and we went there after the football game, and they had that. I think it was the same night they had that murder mystery, because there was still a bunch of people.
Oh, they were dressed like in cowboy and saloon. Yeah.
Yeah, and but that bar down there, being a kind of a local, Templeton's not used to having something open until midnight,
right? Yeah, that's
and for a very, very long time. Back in the day, Johnny's Saloon, but that was a long, long time ago. But now it's like they're really, they're stepping it up. The drinks aren't, expensive. It's not like, you would think. I would have thought, you would have went in there and got a drink, and they're, $19. Right. And they're really not, and so they actually have drink specials on the Friday nights, for after football games, or Taylor, they'll kind of craft a special menu, for the late night guys, and it's very reasonable. It's fun, and it's everybody.
Yeah.
So
I like that place. It's cool.
So Kelly, now we go past Halloween. So now we have Thanksgiving. So are you a big Thanksgiving person?
I am. I just did. So I don't know if you saw my Facebook. I did this whole big centerpiece of my dining room table, and then the outside, my front, patio has the pumpkins and the stacks of hay.
Oh, no kidding.
And all that stuff, yeah.
So I always like to find out what people make for Thanksgiving. What's the dish? We were talking about this the other day, turkey. Like a turkey, it seems like it'd be simple to make more than just once a year, but it never happens. Right. Or, green bean casserole. I love green bean casserole. I look forward to Thanksgiving for green bean casserole. And it's like, how come we don't make it any other time during the year? But what is like a dish that you would make that you wouldn't typically make, or that you just happens you don't make it throughout the year?
For Thanksgiving, probably sweet potato casserole.
Tell me about that. So my wife makes sweet potato balls.
Oh.
Which is like a marshmallow in the middle of it, of like the sweet potatoes yummy. with brown sugar and I think cornflakes.
Oh yeah.
You know, so and those things are delicious. Those things get devoured.
Yeah.
So tell me about yours.
So it's obviously sweet potatoes. It's a southern recipe because I'm from Georgia, so it's got some whiskey in it.
Well, say no more. I'm in.
It's adult sweet potato casserole, and then with candied pecans and the marshmallows. Yeah, it's really good.
That sounds delicious.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you don't get drunk when you eat it.
No, I mean it's not like you pour the whole thing in it.
You're like, one for me.
Right. I mean, you could when you're making it.
Right.
But last year I did, for Thanksgiving, I did a big Friendsgiving with like 25, 30 people at my house. And I did spatchcocked turkeys. Do you know what those are?
I don't. I'm afraid to ask.
So I had never heard what spatchcocking was. It's a form of cooking where you get the turkey and you take out like the spine and you flatten it. So instead of, because you have the whole turkey, this is kind of like you flatten it down. And you do the same thing, like you brine it and whatever, but it makes it cook faster because it's flattened. So instead, like, normally you can put a turkey in and it takes, all day to make. This took me 2 hours hour and a half, 2 hours to do.
Really?
Yeah. So
pull the spine out?
Yeah, so you pull the spine out, you kind of just like break it and then you flatten it out. So
interesting.
Yeah, so Google it, spatchcocking.
I feel like if I Google spatchcocking, my computer is going to get a virus.
It won't.
Oh boy! All right, well it's 7:50. We got to take a commercial, so we will be right back, and we're going to learn more about spatchcocking when we come back. We'll be right back to the Morning Brew.
Hi, this is Dave Story, small game hunter with Story Termite and Pest. We're a full-service termite and pest control company. From rodents to termites, we can take care of all your pest control needs. Call today. We can tailor a pest control program that will meet your needs and budget. Contact us at 805-460-0650 or at storytermite.com. Remember, we don't have customers, we have friends.
Welcome back to the Morning Brew, guys. We are here with Kelly Reeves, and we are talking about spatchcocking, right?
Yep.
If anybody knows what spatchcocking is, where's Kyle at? Does Kyle know what spatchcocking is?
Kyle's on today.
Kyle, do you know what spatchcocking is? Because if you do, you are the smartest guy I know because you answer all of our questions. So, but yeah, so do we have Lori yet?
No Lori.
No Lori.
No Lori.
Lori, if you're out there, call us. Send us an email. Send us a text. We're worried about you. The Broncos didn't play last weekend, so you're good. Call us. So we got some things to talk about.
Yes.
So there's a lot of things going on in Norris County. Tons of stuff. We live in the mecca of things happening, I feel. Oh, I got a text. It was not from Lori.
Yeah.
Maybe it was. Let me see. Nope. But we live in the mecca of, just events. There's so much stuff going on. There's so many people. There's so many different directions. Like, Tascadero had their Boo Zoo, which was their Halloween event. I think Brandon just had their barbecue.
Smoke and Rust
last weekend out at Estrella's.
Yeah.
You've got, Tascadero just had their first Fridays, big event, Day of the Dead last Friday. So there's just a lot of stuff going on, which then comes with other stuff that's going on. And one thing, which I wanted to bring on here since you're here, and you know about this, phone scam is circulating in San Luis County.
Right.
So there's a big phone scam circulating in San Luis Obispo County, right? So scammers are warning residents of a phone scam in San Luis Obispo County. There have been reports of recently someone claiming to be from the sheriff's office has contacted individuals to inform them of an issue with a federal agency and a payment that is needed to resolve the matter. Mm-hmm. Have you heard about this?
I haven't heard about that one, but it's common, when it comes to either phone scams or, like I work in cybersecurity, cyber scams. But they're getting more sophisticated by doing stuff like this. And there's also what they're starting to do is they're starting to spoof phone numbers. And I actually had this happen to a friend of mine. They spoofed his wife's number and called him, and it made it sound like his wife exactly, and like she had been kidnapped. And, they were wanting ransom. And it turns out that it was fake. She was at home safe. But, they're starting to just
They're getting smarter.
They're getting smarter. And they're also learning how to tap into your, through Wi-Fi onto your computer and get your keystrokes. So for passwords.
I need any of that stuff.
Right.
I mean,
is there anything better to do?
Well, you always get these phone calls and you see numbers call in that are local.
Yeah.
And then when you answer the phone, you immediately know.
Yeah.
They're not local.
Yeah.
But yet, it's like the phone scams. It's like, do you think there's still people naive enough to fall for these things?
Yeah, and I think it's a demographic thing. I see that it's usually kind of the older, the senior citizens that fall for it because they're typically not super tech savvy. They're like, oh gosh, okay, so it kind of depends upon the person. And if you really believe that it is the sheriff's office, then of course you want to accommodate. And it's the same thing when it comes to something we call phishing, phishing.
Right.
So phishing, when it's an email that could look like it's from a legitimate source, like it looks like it's from your boss or from a friend or from a company you trust, and they're saying, oh, click on this link, and then you click on the link, and the next thing you know,
right,
a virus is spread through your system or your company's system. So it's a very similar concept where you think that it's coming from a trusted source, like the sheriff's office,
right?
And you want to accommodate. You want to abide by what the law is telling you, and so that's
crazy.
Yeah,
it's. I mean, to have this happen, and for especially the sheriff's office.
Yeah,
and I get it because we're coming into the holidays. You're having these different organizations calling for donations and stuff like that, and people are a little bit more opening and welcoming to we'll donate or whatever, and really it's.
Yeah, and it's really I always think there's a certain place in hell for people that
you would say
that take advantage of people's generosity in the name of a charity. And because I co-founded a nonprofit, we've had that happen with save the animals and send $100, and they think they're sending it to us, but they're really sending it to themselves. So we've had to be super diligent when it comes to that and tell all of our donors or anybody, if you're not sure, reach out to me personally or Monica, my business partner, and ask if we're doing this.
And that's such a crappy time that we live in. This where we can't feel, giving,
right?
Because you don't know if it's probably a scam.
Yeah.
And it's just like when you go down and you see the homeless on the side, and it's like you want to give, but. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's kind of like one of those double-edged swords to where, you're like, okay, you see, like I said, a sheriff or, dog, humane society or whatever,
right.
To where you think that you're giving, to them and it's really a scam. And so then you're like, okay, well, now I don't do it.
Yeah, I don't want to give anymore. You feel burned.
Right.
So I always just say, let's go, whatever, because people give where their heart is, whatever you're passionate about. Go straight to the organization's website, and they usually have their donation button and give straight. Like if somebody calls asking for donations, don't do it. And some legitimate organizations do. They do, especially during the holidays, they'll do, text, donation drives or phone donation drives. But just because, the one bad egg spoils the bunch.
Right.
It's like, and I tell people, like, if you get those calls, it could legitimately be from the ASPCA or from, Wounded Warrior, whoever. But just say, no, I'll go straight to your website and donate through there.
Yeah, I think we were talking, Eric and I were talking about doing like something with us, with What's Up North County.
Yeah.
Doing some sort of, jacket drive or, something that, we're going to talk, because we've partnered with Austin and Wendy over there at Echo, a couple different times. So, just kind of chatting and seeing what's needed, whether it's food, whether it's, material, just something, just because I think that's the right thing to do. And, and like I said, we talked about the sheriff, since, right across the street's Peddler's Corral.
Right.
And we can, work something out with them.
Right.
And have something with the sheriff, a real one.
Yeah. Like the real sheriff.
Not like the scam thing.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, there's all kinds of crazy things, and we just live in this crazy world.
We do, yeah. And criminals, and even online or phone or in real life on the streets, they're getting bolder. And, with all that's happening in the world, with, over in Israel, and, our borders being wide open. I mean, that's why one of the reasons I do what I do is because I'm like, things are getting crazy. And I am seeing, an uptick in people wanting to take my self-defense classes and my firearms classes. And with, the stuff I do with the sheriff's office, and I'm hearing in law enforcement that they're getting more and more concerned that things are going to return to 2020 levels of unrest at some point in the not too distant future. So, and that's...
I hope not.
I hope not either.
That would just, and if it does, I hope we have a different rebuttal to it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But I think we learned from the past, but I know, and I didn't live up here at the time when that was going down, but I think that's what the whole, Protect Paso, movement is about, is to, kind of circle the wagons around our, small town to protect it from that nonsense. So...
Oh yeah, it's like, Jason Aldean's, try that in a small town.
Yeah.
and I think that holds true in our North County.
Yeah.
Our towns here. You have Tascadero, Templeton, and Paso.
Yeah.
Even though, you have a little bit of a mixed, demographic that's kind of moved in, over the years, I think for the most part it's still, it's small town. Mm-hmm. It's still, even though people are trying to move in and trying to make it not small town, it's like, you can get them out of there.
Yeah.
But I think for the most part, it's still pretty small town.
Yeah.
But you get into certain places and certain things, like there's so many different things, like kids, and people can buy different things on the internet. For like, take for instance this right here. So this in San Luis, I don't know if you heard about this, but there was a gym that they found cameras in the
ladies' locker room. Yeah.
And so,
pervert.
Yeah, right. and they, I saw some pictures of where they found it. They found it. It was like literally in front of the toilet. Was a like a mop, and those things, little buckets that they push around. But there was cameras in in the bucket.
Wow.
That was pointing at the toilet. It was like, really. And so obviously, this all came out, and now it's getting blown up. I saw it on Facebook. The guy's trying to sell the gym, but he went to court a couple weeks ago. But now the DA, police is asking DA to press additional charges in the hidden camera case. So on August 23rd, San Luis Obispo Police Department received a report of hidden camera that had been discovered in the restroom of a CCC Fitness down in San Luis Obispo. The subject was identified. Investigation search warrant was served to his residence. During the service of that warrant, electronic devices were seized, the whole gamut, everything. 2 victims were identified and captured on the hidden camera in the restroom. So he basically portrayed that he was doing it to try to catch somebody stealing toilet paper. So,
well, I mean, at one point, toilet paper was
right, exactly.
That could have been true.
Right, right, yeah. Back in 2020, that might have been a viable reason for the cameras. But now they're trying to press for an additional investigation and charges against the guy. I mean, kind of a creepy guy.
Yeah, that's just creepy, and it's those are things like when I was telling you earlier that I've been doing the Sheriff Citizens Academy and listening to the different departments, and when they talk about their major crimes units and stuff, what they deal with, the child sex trafficking and and all that, it's kind of this similar stuff. And this was like a gym, so we're talking about adult women, but what else does this guy have, like maybe on his computer or whatever? So,
did you watch that movie with the the trafficking, the child trafficking?
The Sound of Freedom.
Yeah, that was an amazing movie.
Yeah,
I mean the amount of like vision and like opening up your mind to go, wow,
this is real, and this is a true story, that really happened. And the guy, so there's the organization is called Underground Railroad. That guy, and I forget his name, but that the actor portrayed. So that's his organization about the child sex trafficking. And that he really did do all that work and go over there and get these kids out as much as he could. But it's an ongoing thing, and it's getting worse and worse. And it's here in North County. I mean, there's the corridor, which is a primary, route, and there's it's happening here, and like I say your own backyard,
right?
But it is.
Yeah, and we're like at that tourist destination, which obviously is a drinking area,
right?
So parents are coming here with their kids, and having fun, thinking that they're in a warm, safe environment,
right?
But really, we don't live there anymore.
Yeah, we don't, and that's why. So there's an organization here. Called Resilient Souls. It's a nonprofit, and what she does, and she was a victim. The founder, she was a victim of sex trafficking, and she survived it. So she started Resilient Souls to help survivors of sex trafficking recover and go through the trauma therapy and everything. So so that's an organization. But so when I went to go see the movie, they had a table there at the movie theater in Paso, handing out flyers and stuff. So.
Yeah, we went to, and there's a couple women out there on their tables.
Yeah.
And then recently, my wife just told me that there's somebody here in Templeton that's going to do a fundraiser for it.
Oh, good.
Somebody that we know, the Twisselman, part of the Twisselman, Lori Twisselman, but she mentioned that she was going to, wants us to get involved, so that way we can, my wife's like, yeah, of course, right? I'd be totally into that.
Yeah.
So, but it's like, but that's such a traction. It's such a movement. It's such a, huge, and, it's like, people think it as political and stuff like that. It's like, what? Really? How could it be political? It's for kids. I mean,
it's for kids. And,
it's happening.
It's so there was a case in, I think it was in Nipomo, but in 2021 or 2022, anyway, it's a girl, 15-year-old girl, and she had been communicating with people online, thinking she was communicating with kids her age, and they show the video of her sneaking out of her grandmother's house. It was the day before her quinceañera, and sneaking out of her grandmother's house. You can see her walking out, holding her tennis shoes, and she's thinking she's sneaking out with some friends. Mm-hmm. She gets in the car, and it turns out to be sex traffickers. They get her all the way down to Mexico. The sheriff's office, FBI. They do this whole tracking, and they finally they got her back, but not without all the trauma she had to endure.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it's a 15-year-old girl. Yeah.
Oh man.
So,
well, parents just need to be more aware, be more, of what's happening in their kids.
Yeah.
Even if kids don't like it, stay tough crap. We're gonna be involved.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I did start my Teens and Girls program to help kids when they're, and especially teens, because like I have a 17-year-old niece in Florida. She's driving. She's a competitive dancer. She's at the dance studio late at night, or she works at the grocery store, and I asked my sister, how, when Emily leaves the dance studio, what's the protocol? Because it's dark. And she's like, well, the girls all walk each other to their car. I'm like, okay, that's great. But what if there's some creeper knowing this is a dance studio, a bunch of pretty young girls sitting there watching and following her home? Does she know how to keep checking her rear view mirror? Does she know to stay off the phone with, to not be texting or calling her boyfriend on the way home? Does she know how to just practice basic situational awareness? She's like, well, no, not really. I'm like, okay. So I was like, okay, get on the phone with me.
Right? Don't they have those devices where you can put them in your kids' cars that when you're like hit, on or drive, that it like somehow disables your phone?
I think so, and it's a good thing to have.
It really, I see kids on this thing. I mean, yes, I'm guilty of it too.
You're an adult.
Yeah, I know. I feel like I'm a little bit more, seasoned.
Right.
But I mean, some of these kids nowadays, they don't have a speed limit.
No.
I mean, there's no speed limit. And do you remember like the cartoons back in the day when they had the guys they all looked like monsters, and Eric will probably know this, where they all looked like monsters and they had these hot rod cars and they're just like, and hauling ass. That's what I feel like these kids are, but they're on their cell phones too.
At the same time.
Exactly. Because they fly by me and I'm just like, man, I feel like, I always wish I had like something I could shoot at them, from my car, but obviously that's not legal.
That's illegal,
Yeah, that's not legal. Hey, so one question. So wine, you like wine?
Love it.
You like wine?
Yes.
Okay, so what do you think are some of your best holiday wines? What would be a holiday wine?
Well, I'm a cab person, so I like cabs. But
now, why is that as opposed to it's like a red?
I just like, it's just like my favorite varietal. I do like a good Zin too, but I like the fuller body wines. I like some spice in my wine, like some pepper
there you
and
go.
stuff. So
okay, so some of the best, there's different wineries in our area. Sparkling wines, rose wines, white wines, Pinot,
Rosé wine.
What did I call it?
Rosé, not rose. Rosé.
and Pinot Noir.
Yeah. Pinot Noir.
All right, we're not doing this segment then because I'm not a wine person. I'm trying to get into the wine, but I'm a new wine member.
Okay.
At Whalebone.
Okay.
Just because I like the name.
Right.
And they're one of our good friends. I've known them. They're good friends of my parents, and anyways, so I'm a member now.
Yeah.
Which unlimited wine is like, hello.
Yeah.
And now I'm a member of Rod and Hammer.
Okay.
So the same thing where you get like massive flights just because you're a member. It's
Yeah.
like I still don't, I can't wrap my head around the economics of their reasoning. Just as a poor Whalebone is up to 6 people
Right.
every single day. Mm-hmm. So if I wanted to bring me, you, Eric, and 3 other people, we can go there every single day and get tasters.
Right.
And they pour their tasters pretty large.
Yeah.
So
I like that. I hate when it's just like little splash.
yeah, like it has that little thing on the thing. It's like drip. It's like, really? I need a little bit more than that.
Well, I think they count on, and I'm not a wine economics expert, but I think they count on memberships because that's the recurring revenue twice a year. They hope okay, you're going to taste and then buy a bottle. So, and then, with the events and stuff that they do, but, of course, elephant in the room that, Dow is selling for $1 billion.
Right.
So how they,
it's crazy. Have you ever been there?
I have.
It looks pretty nice from
It's a beautiful property. Yeah. I mean, it's a gorgeous property. So it's definitely worth the visit just to check out.
Right.
So
I think a lot of the wineries are just, like I said, I'm not a wine person, but just to go check out the facility.
Yeah.
Like the big place over there off of 46.
Vino Robles?
No, Agredo, right across the street. Right there by
Allegretto?
Right. Isn't that what it's called, Eric?
Allegretto's, on the 46, but it's kind of back.
Yeah, it's kind of off the side. It's a big castle, European.
Oh yeah, there is a hotel too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's also a winery, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I mean something like that. I mean that's so cool. You just walk in there and it's just like these ancient. Like a buddy of mine, he helped to build that, and there was a rock that's right when you walk in that the owner he come across it in like Switzerland or some country that they were hiking and saw this rock, and they went and took the rock and shipped it back over here.
How much does it cost to ship
a
big rock?
And they had to go get it wherever they were on this hiking
dig
thing.
it up.
It's like, man, what kind of money is that, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I want
more
this
than
rock,
I have.
right?
I'm not going to dig up some big rock in Switzerland.
It's a hell of a story. They probably found it while they were building the freaking hotal.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, hey, whatever. The story works good for me.
Right.
So,
but I do like the big, beautiful wineries, we were talking about Tooth and Nail, or even like Rava with the really.
I've never been there.
I mean, there is a beautiful property. They have a really great event center, but I like kind of some of the off the beaten path places too. Like one of my favorite wines here, and it's kind of a tiny little place over there off the 46 West in Anderson, is Volatus. So the owner is a former, I think, Navy fighter pilot. So
really?
And he makes really, really great wines. But a little tiny place, like you wouldn't know unless you have people that talk about it.
What's it called?
Volatus.
Volatus. Man, where do they come up with these names?
Volatus.
It's I believe it's a Air Force term.
Yeah.
For flying.
Wow.
Yeah. So maybe he's Air Force fighter pilot. So that Tackett Wineries, Leon Tackett, they actually have a fundraiser there this weekend.
Bike ride.
Huh? The bike ride.
Yeah.
So I do like some of the often beaten, the beaten path wineries, because the big ones, the ones that get a lot of the attention, and everybody wants to go see their properties, but you can find some little diamonds in the rough there if you kind of just stop and go around. So
Tola Winery Cellars.
Toilet cellars?
Tola Cellars?
Toilet cellars?
Tola. Tola Cellars.
Yeah.
Have you ever been there?
No.
That's out, going out towards, what's the big one? The wonderful place?
Justin?
Yeah. Going out towards Justin out there. Which there's this super space age looking winery up on the hill, heading out that direction.
Yeah.
It's it's kind of creepy looking because it doesn't look like there's any windows,
right?
But it's all white. Have you ever seen that?
I don't think I have.
And then you keep going. There's a train tracks out there at a winery, but there's just so many different wineries. I was blown away because I'm passing wineries like crazy. Constantly. And then when I went out to this winery, I was delivering I did some hats for them, and I'm like, and it's just a tiny tiny like this. And I'm like, and it was out there. Yeah. I'm like, how does people find you? People,
when they come out, I think they go, okay, well, there's the hub of 46 West and whatever. But some people, when they're out here, they're just like, we're just going to drive, and then they find those little tiny ones. But Toilet Wines would be a good name.
Toilet, not toilet. Tola.
There's actually a wine company I heard of, and it's a woman that owns it. It's called Buzzkill Wines.
Buzzkill Wine?
Yeah. Just in play on words.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, cool. It's 8:17 right now. We got to take another break, and then we're going to come back, and we're going to talk about what all the gadgets you brought here.
Gadgets.
And we're really wondering what this is. We already got comments coming in.
Right.
So, but we'll be right back to the Morning Brew with Kelly Reeves, Miss Defense.
Hi, welcome to Kennedy Club Fitness, where we have something for everyone. We have weights, cardio, group exercise classes, racquetball, basketball, swimming, and pickleball coming soon. Here at Kennedy, we're committed to health, wellness, and community. Stop by any of our 4 locations: Paso Robles, Atascadero, San Luis Obispo, and Arroyo Grande, or check out our website at kennedyclubs.com.
Welcome back, guys, to the Morning Brew, Tuesday morning, and we are here with Kelly Reeves, and she has brought some stuff. She's got a business, Miss Defense, which does a lot of self-defense and kind of women's focus more so, right?
Yeah, but I'll have in my CCW classes, I'll have both men and women.
And you're now a new CCW instructor with the Sheriff's Office.
Right, with Sheriff's Office and all local agencies.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
So tell us about that. Tell us about the CCW. I mean, there's a lot of benefit to it.
Yep.
There's a lot of misunderstanding about it. And there's probably a lot of fear of even the steps to do it.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit, in a shorter form, obviously, of, what's the process? Is it hard? Is it obtainable? I mean, what is it?
It's obtainable. Things are going to change in the not too distant future with Newsom, signing SB2 into law, which is going to change the parameters of where you can't carry, even if you are a CCW permit holder. So, and they're trying, it's kind of like some mind trickery that they're doing instead of saying, so they have like safe zones where like no guns are allowed, that they change it where private property owners can put like a guns allowed sign. So it's just, how they're trying. And I think personally it's going to take time, but I don't think after all of the appeals and injunctions, and I think the CRPA already filed an injunction and appeal against it. Once it starts going through that process, it's not going to fly because it's just, one, is unconstitutional. So they're doing that. They're trying to make it in the state of California where agencies can just arbitrarily deny you a CCW for no reason, which is technically unconstitutional. And they're adding an 11% tax on gun sales. So,
jeez.
So they're
all trying to persuade them to not arm themselves.
Right, exactly. So we want to keep you from protecting yourself.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Right, yeah. Especially when he let a bunch of people out of prisons and, people are coming over our borders and gangbusters.
Jeez. Wow.
So I always say, go ahead and start the process. Thankfully, here in San Luis Obispo, Sheriff's Office is very, two-way friendly, very CCW friendly. Most local agencies are too. So that's the benefit of being up here with that. So I say, go through the process, go, fill out your application wherever you are. If you're in unincorporated areas and in the sheriff's office, then you can just go on their website. You can do everything online. Most local agencies, and I think Paso is switching over to the same, it's called Permitium, which is the online application form that the sheriff's office uses. I think Paso PD is moving over to that. Or you could just go into the local, Tascadero, AG, Morro Bay, and, get your application, fill it out, just provide all the paperwork they ask for, take my class, and that's the 8-hour requirement for the state of California. And then you do your interview and your fingerprint or live scan, and then you just kind of got to wait it out.
See if you're accepted or not?
Yeah. And you should be. I mean, unless there's something egregious. And if you're not sure, it's like go on the DOJ website. Obviously, if you have a felony record, you're not going to get
right.
accepted. If
you're wanted,
right? If you're wanted,
if you're wanted, we kind of encourage you to go on the DOJ and fill it out.
Yeah, if you like domestic violence stuff. So there's certain things, but there are also some gray areas. And I've had people ask, like, "Hey, I've got a misdemeanor DUI that I got a couple years ago." And it's really going to be on something like that will be a case-by-case basis. It really depends upon the circumstances and what happened since. But just because you got a parking ticket or whatever, you're not going to be denied. It has to be pretty serious. But, so right now, and of course they got rid of last year when the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association sued, because we used to have the good cause statement. Like, why do you want to have a CCW? You used to have to write it all out and put it in a letter. And now that was unconstitutional too. So they can't ask you why. And if they do, I just say just for your personal protection, and that's
because the world's crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, the world's crazy. All right, enough said.
But they're legally now not supposed to ask you. And it may come up in an interview like, oh, just curious, just because, and I can understand why an agency would be curious, of course, but they're not going to go, oh, so I can go shoot up a school.
Right.
Right. So, yeah.
Well, cool. Well, so tell me a little bit about what you brought here. You brought show and tell today.
Yeah.
So we got some zappers, we got some guns, we got some flashlights. Looks like we got some knuckle.
Yeah, these are striking devices.
Temple.
So you can put these between your knuckles. So if you're walking, by yourself at night, whatever, you keep this kind of between your fingers. If someone tries to, attack you from the front. So,
wow.
Yeah, so that's what these are. This is a personal alarm that is super, super loud. So, because, the thing I'm really into is, avoiding an attack altogether, having to avoid physical engagement if you can. So that's why I'm really big on situational awareness, avoidance, de-escalation techniques. So if you can get out of a situation without ever engaging or buying yourself some time. So like this has a really bright light on it, and it does make a really loud sound when you push the buttons. So that could be enough of a deterrent where a criminal could be like, oh yeah, I'm not going to go there. And especially if you can blind them for a little bit,
right?
And then maybe like blind them and go, okay, now you're really blinded.
Or stab them with one of these at the same time,
yeah.
right in the eyeball.
Yeah. So yeah, and this is this is a little handheld stun device. So if you carry it like around your wrist, and you go to stun the person, if they take it and they take this thing out, then they can't use it. So they can't turn around
on you.
Yeah. So,
which makes a lot of sense, especially nowadays. We're going into the holidays. Ladies are out shopping. Late.
Yeah.
Craziness, and there has been some issues that specifically in Paso around the river area that people are starting to say, hey,
yeah,
there's things going on, and the police department can't do anything about it because it's.
Well, it's like, are you going to take matters into your own hands, or are you going to wait for the cavalry?
Right.
And when I did, it's like I've been doing the Sheriff Citizens Academy, and I did a ride along with a deputy, and he's just like, we can't always get there. And things happen so fast. So it's like, okay, if it takes us even 10, 20, 30 minutes, and if you're all the way out in, California Valley or whatever, it could take them an hour.
Right.
So, or if something happens even in Paso, and Paso PD is already, consumed with other stuff, they may not get you. So you got to protect yourself. Because, you can't go, because when it happens so fast, you need the police right there. And unless they're your next door neighbor, they're not going to be.
Right, which is why you have your, CCW. Yeah. Now you got a couple guns here. What do we got here?
I do. So these are my carry weapons. So this is and I'll show the camera that these are completely unloaded. This is a Smith & Wesson Shield. A lot of women prefer this just because of the size. It's a 9mm.
It's smaller. It's easier to.
It's smaller. It's easier. Yeah. So these are both 9mm, but I put together a gun guide because I get so many women, especially like, what kind of gun should I get? And I go, well, it really depends upon, your hand strength, your size. I mean, my first gun, I like my 45, my 1911. Yeah. So that's one page of it. But yeah. So there I do so I go from the sheriff's office. And I think most agencies won't allow anything less than the 380 on your permit. So 380 and up. So
for your carry?
Yeah.
Okay.
So 380s are really good. SIG makes a couple of good 380s. This is the SIG. This is a 365, which was thankfully just added to the California gun roster. This is also 9mm. I prefer this one. It's got a smoother, shorter trigger pull. So it's easier to get used to. This one has kind of a heavier, longer trigger pull, plus you got the trigger guard right there. So that can kind of mess people up. So, but yeah, these are two great carry guns. I love them, and I have red dots on them, which I recommend getting an optic. So the difference between a red dot and say a laser, this is so it's kind of like a hologram. So there's the light under here that shines up on the glass and reflects onto the target. So you can't. So the only person that can see the light is the shooter. So it's not like when you have the lasers and it's on their body and whatever. So like those are cat toys.
Right.
So
yeah.
So I recommend if you're going to carry, especially if you're going to carry a semi-auto, definitely put a red dot on it, because when it comes to self-defense shooting situation, God forbid you're ever in one, you need to be able to land on that target really quickly. Like you don't want to be like, oh, let me see if my iron sights are set up. You just want to be able to go.
And you were mentioning before. I mean, there's a lot of different holsters. There's a lot of to where it's not, you don't have to have like in your purse or stuff like that, to where you can carry it on you. I've seen a lot of different options like for in the vehicle. Mm-hmm. That's easy to grab, easy to to defend yourself if you need be.
Yeah.
Or they make special belts, they make special rib holsters that you can't even tell that anybody's even wearing anything. You might be wearing one right now and you can't really tell. But that's the point.
It's a hair holster.
Yeah. Do they have those?
No.
Oh. But there's just different options with the weapons that are so small.
Yeah.
That they can be carried without this big magnum.
Looks like you got a tumor on your
side. You got the the big cowboy in Texas with his dirty Harry hanging off his side.
Yeah, and they're coming out especially with women because. When you're carrying, like, you see the guys and, you feel like you ought to wear big baggy clothes or whatever. And we're going into winter, so it makes it a little easier. But in the summer and spring, when you're wearing, like, especially women, you're wearing, like, dresses or shorts. So there's a company called Dean Adams. And she only does, like, women's concealed carry garments. And she makes one, which is kind of like a Spanx. So it's like almost like a compression garment, but it happens to have a pocket for your gun, and it really does. So if you go on her Instagram and look at all the holsters she has, and she'll model them, and it's like she's wearing this cute little tiny dress, and then she'll like pull it up, and I'm like, whoa, she's loaded down there.
Wow, there it
but
is.
She has like the Spanx thing, so like little shorts that are under her little short dress, and so, but it's just, they're coming out with more and more type of concealment garments, so you don't have to always wear big baggy clothing.
So Kelly, tell me about your program. Do you have some programs coming up, some classes coming up? Like if some ladies or men even too watching right now, do you have some classes coming up for the CCW? Or
I do. My next CCW class is December 8th, and I always tell people to whether you want a CCW or not, take it anyway, because we also go over home defense stuff. You don't need a CCW in your home, but you want to protect your home. Somebody breaks in or an intruder. There's actually a video one of my students sent me yesterday about in LA. Guy comes home, he's opening his door, some guy comes up behind him with a gun. And he how he got out of it, so he turns and he had, I guess, a hot cup of tea and he threw it at the guy. And I guess because the hot tea and the guy ran off. But still, and I have a statistic that I think I sent over to Eric was, the increase in home invasions that we're starting to see. So it's not just about concealed carry and carrying on the streets, it's about protecting your home too. And most importantly, what happens if you have to be involved in a shooting in your home? Like, how do you interact with police? What do you say? What are your rights? What could you be facing? Like, what do you do? And so it's not just if you're involved in a shooting somewhere on you're more likely going to be involved in something in your home than you are in the streets.
And you have to be ready to pull that trigger. If you're carrying, you got to be willing to, it's not just for show.
Yeah, you got to be, but the goal is ultimately to stop the threat. So if you're carrying, somebody approaches you either like with a bat or a knife, whatever, and you go to present your firearm and they're like out, that has stopped the threat. And they back off and they go away, they run away, then you've stopped the threat. You can't now go after them like, oh, let me start shooting them, because now you're gonna, there's actually a story, I forget where it was in California, where a guy, like a convenience store owner at the store, some guy comes in, robs him at gunpoint, he gives him his money, robber leaves, the store owner comes after him with a gun, the robber turns around and shoots him, and the robber got self-defense, because he was then in the position of immediate bodily harm or death. So even though he had just committed armed robbery, the threat was gone. So, but then he came after him with the gun, and so he turned around and shot and killed him. So, but they called it self-defense.
Wow. And what state was that in?
It's here in California.
Oh, that figures.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Jeez. So you should see, because I pour through tons and tons and tons of self-defense shooting videos that are actual footage. And they're part of my class, because I like the class to watch the videos, and then we kind of analyze them, like, was this justified or was it not justified? Most of them have already been tried, so I know the outcome. Most of them, of course, are in Florida or Texas. But we always have to take things through the lens of California, because California is special. So it's like, okay, had this happened in California, would this have been a justified use of lethal force or not. And so we get into those discussions after we watch those videos. And it kind of enlightens people. They're like, wow, I really never thought about that.
And each state is probably different in their terminology of what's considered lethal, what's considered within, boundary.
Well, there's the reasonable force versus deadly force.
Right.
So reasonable force is, say, you walk out into the parking lot and you see somebody breaking into your car. You push them down. That's considered a reasonable force in response to that act. You can't, if you see them break them into your car, pull your gun and start shooting them. That's then deadly force and not what they call the equivalent of now. So if you go and see a guy like, hey, that's my car, and he turns and pulls a gun on you, then that changes the parameters. Like, okay, now you're faced with immediate threat of bodily harm or death. Then you could pull your gun. Mm-hmm. But you can't just go, oh, he's breaking my car, I'm going to just shoot him.
Dang it. What state can you do that in?
I don't know.
Tennessee?
Probably Texas.
I don't know. There's some, maybe in Texas.
I can't say. I don't know all the state laws, but I know in California that wouldn't fly.
Awesome. Well, Kelly, it's been fun. How does people reach you? Where do they go for more information?
They can go to my website, msdefenseccw.com. And that has all of my classes. It'll have the upcoming CCW class. So if you go, there's a menu item that says classes. Click, SLO, SLO CCW. And then I partnered with a martial arts studio in Atascadero. So next year we're going to do more women's self-defense classes that are everything but handguns, and it'll be like the situational awareness, avoidance, de-escalation, some of these non-lethal devices, and then it'll have the martial arts component.
Awesome.
So that's pretty exciting. I'm really excited about that because that's the thing that's been kind of missing. Because even for me, as trained as I am, if somebody came up behind me and grabbed me or whatever, and I couldn't reach for my gun or my stun device or whatever, I need to be able to get out of that situation so I can buy myself space and time to either pull a weapon or a safety device or just get the heck out of there.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I had a question, and I'm trying to think of how to say it without sounding weird. But so I think I'm going to just not say it, But yeah, no, that's awesome for especially women. I feel like there's some women out there that don't need it. I think some men, but yeah. But it's just more of a reassurance. Like you said, some women they feel intimidated with a gun. Mm-hmm. So then therefore they have these things.
They have sparkly stun device. And this thing is pretty hardcore. I mean, it gives you a good reach.
Yeah.
And I've accidentally grabbed this, and the shock went up my arm. So this is a pretty, and it's in black too. If you don't want this pink glittery, funky looking thing, but it definitely works. It will definitely knock out or kind of stun an attacker and again buy you space and time. And then the other program is my Teens and Girls program for situational awareness, communication strategies. If you think something's going on, how do you communicate? What do you do? What's your first point of action? So and how kids can avoid situations, because I think our kids, just as much as women, are under threat these days too. So
absolutely.
I want to make sure that when they go off to school or whatever they're doing, because your parents can't be there all the time. Just like I say with women, your man can't be there all the time. So you got to protect yourself.
Awesome. Kelly, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Really appreciate you coming in and helping me out here this Tuesday morning.
Yeah, thank you for asking.
Having some fun and talking about all this stuff. So once again, Miss Defense, CCW.com.
Yep.
Miss Defense with an MS.
Defense, yeah.
CCW.com.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Well, thank you again for coming in. Well, there you have it, guys. Thanks for tuning in to What's Up North County Morning here with me and Kelly. And make sure you guys go out and check out our website, MSDefenseCCW.com, for more information. But as always, guys, we can't do this without you and our sponsors. We'd like to thank Escalera Wines, Wine Travelers Hideaway, Rancho Sestero Meat Cutting, Visit Atascadero, 805 Customs, Hanson Enterprises, El Red Rooster, Pacific 805 Spas, Story Termite and Pest Control, 5-Star Rain Gutters, Airflow Filter Services, Borhone Auto Center, and Kennedy Club Fitness, guys. Thanks again. We'll see you tomorrow.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
Hi, welcome to Kennedy Club Fitness, where we have something for everyone. We have weights, cardio, group exercise classes, racquetball, basketball, swimming, and pickleball coming soon. Here at Kennedy, we're committed to health, wellness, and community. Stop by any of our 4 locations: Paso Robles, Atascadero, San Luis Obispo, and Arroyo Grande, or check out our website at kennedyclubs.com.
We don't just serve it up, we roast it, distill it, brew it, craft it, crank it, bake it, make it, perfect it, cure it, paint it, live it, breathe it, and then we serve it up, all in Atascadero.
Hi, this is Dave Story, small game hunter with Story Termite and Pest. We're a full-service termite and pest control company. From rodents to termites, we can take care of all your pest control needs. Call today, we can tailor a pest control program that will meet your needs and budget. Contact us at 805-460-0650 or at storytermite.com. Remember, we don't have customers, we have friends.